Hello and welcome to the Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland from Scorebook Live, Mississippi, joined by my co-host here and my paternal co-host, Rick Cleveland from Mississippi Today. Dad, how you doing today?
Pretty good for a paternal co-host.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I am it is day 2 at the Mississippi Coliseum. We're recording this on Tuesday morning with the MHSAA championships. I was at the Coliseum for 13 hours yesterday and 8 basketball games. And I got to say, it's fun. There's lots going on. It's hard to keep track of everything. I was thinking about it this morning. We get on this podcast, and I was worried you were going to ask me who won what game, and I can hardly remember. It all runs together.
Well, I well remember sitting down there for, I don't believe back when I was doing high schools exclusively that there were 8 games. I think the most they played back then were 6 games in a day. But I remember going home, finally, getting in bed and hearing squeaky sneakers, buzzers, and balls bouncing in my dreams. Yeah,
there's a lot of that going on, but it's I can't complain though, because the basketball I saw yesterday was really entertaining. I wish that it was 6 games a day. I do, because it would make it more enjoyable for somebody like me who's watching every game.
And then reporting between games.
Well, there's only 8 minutes between games, so not doing much reporting. It's more like tweeting than anything else. If I can tell you what happened in 140 characters, I'm doing well. You can forget about getting a hot dog or going to the bathroom if you're going to tell you what happened between games. But we're finding creative ways to do it, and anybody who's listening, you can go over to scorebooklive.com/Mississippi, and you'll see some, we'll have highlight videos, player interviews, game stories.
It's pretty amazing, the coverage.
It's been good.
Credit there.
The live updates are huge for us throughout the day, so it's something you can come back to throughout the day to keep you covered on everything going on at the Coliseum. So you came by yesterday for the 1A girls, which is a great story, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to ride it later in the week.
Yeah, it looks like Blue Mountain, a school of, I think their reclassification number, which is grades 9 through 11, was 64 students for reclassification purposes. They're in 1A. The girls are on the brink of a state championship. They got one more really tough game against Lumberton coming up on this Thursday afternoon. But it's a cool story because they've got 8 players technically. They only play 6 of them.
Well, they only played 6 all year. They call them the Super 6. Yeah, and I was talking to the coach after the game. They only had 1 player foul out all year. I thought it's quite possible that they would finish a game with 3 or 4 players, but she said she had one girl that fouled out all year, but they're 29-1?
Yeah, they got the best record of anybody. And what's crazy is I think what makes them go, obviously, is Kiana Foote, who was the 1A player of the year.
One of the 3 feet on the team.
Yes. We call them the Foote clan. There's 3 of them named Foote on the team, and she is by far the best one. She's a senior, and she's, as she goes, they go.
She's 6 feet tall, and she plays like she's, a 5'5" point guard. She can really pass and handle the ball. She does it all.
She knows what to do with it when it gets in her hands, that's for sure.
The most interesting thing I saw while I was there was when her shoulder came out in the 4th quarter.
Well, it was like right around 2 minutes to go, and they were up 20. And she went down hard and, was just writhing in pain. And, you're thinking, well, there goes Blue Mountain's chances to win,
Yeah.
But she never returned to the game, but she was shaking it out on this over there on the bench, and she had ice pack on it after the game and assured everybody that she would be able to go in the championship on Thursday. And they're going to face a pretty good Lumberton team that was, won in dramatic fashion. They hit 2 free throws to win with 15 seconds left and knock off the, Biggersville, who's the defending champs.
As you well know, I know what that shoulder thing feels like. Your 10th birthday present was a ski trip from me. I tried to follow you down a black slope. I tumbled head over heels. When you got to me, my arm was turned around the wrong way.
Yeah, it was really gross. Hers was luckily not that. It wasn't that extreme. Her arm was not turned around the wrong way. It did not make me want to vomit on the spot. And she seems like she's going to be fine. She's got a pretty good temperament. So I think she'll play on Thursday, and I think that'll be an exciting game. And when, I know you've said this on the show before, that every team's got a story, and it really is like that. And so that's just one of the many stories that will play out this week. And I can't wait to see, when we finish this podcast this morning, I'm headed to the Coliseum. I'm sure there will be
8 more stories.
Just, you know what I mean? So I'm
actually 16.
Right. I was about to say, I'm losing count of the games at this point. Your eyes kind of glaze over after game 6, but.
Well, back to Blue Mountain, and when you and we were looking during one of the timeouts to see where they ranked in the school size in the state.
Right.
And they're the 4th smallest.
It's the School for the Deaf.
And the School for the Blind.
And Piney Woods are the only schools in the state smaller, public schools anyway.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing. And here they are on the brink of a state championship. It really is a cool story.
But the other part is that they have, 3 seniors.
Yeah.
And so unless it's somebody who doesn't play is going to have to play next year, or they're going to struggle to fill a team.
She told me she had a really good class of 7th graders coming up. So there'll be a lot of 8th graders on next year's Blue Mountain team. But I wouldn't want to face them 5 years from now.
I'm about to say, good luck with Biggersville next year. Those girls are so good. We got much more basketball on deck. I want to stay in the high school ranks. I know you spent some time over at the MAIS tournament. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I went over there. As you know, I've written about Eric Dampier Jr., the 6'9" 14-year-old 8th grader who is the number 1 ranked player in America.
Well, apparently he's grown an inch. He was 6'8" last time we talked about him.
Well, he's grown 3 inches since school started this year. I mean, he's like, it's springtime in Mississippi and he's growing like a weed. And every time I see him, Tyler, he does a little something different. I mean, he's getting better. He gets better every time you see him. They were down to Jackson Prep 19-1 in the first quarter last night, and then ended up winning the game by 8 or 10 points. And he was a big factor. And of course, every time MRA plays, another big factor is Richard DeWeese, the head coach who has won more high school basketball games than all but one coach in America. Some pretty good stories over in Clinton too.
Well, good. I'm glad. So set us up there. We got I know the championship slate is set, right?
Yeah, you got.
This is the overall tournament, not they already had the state tournament. Now this is the overall.
Yeah, in the overall championship games, you got the one everybody's been expecting all year is MRA playing JA. Mo Williams has 2 kids on that team, and my goodness, they're good. And in the girls' game, it will be MRA versus East Rankin.
Okay. Do you have any idea where the Williams kids are thinking about going to play college ball?
Well, I heard last night that one's a junior and one's a sophomore, and I heard last night that Mississippi State has offered the junior, who's terrific.
Yeah, he's a great player.
He's going to be a really great college player. Well, so is his younger brother, who's just a sophomore. But, I don't know where they're going. I mean, with them, I think maybe part of the reason why they don't have a whole lot more offers now is maybe there's an assumption that they'll play for their dad at Jackson State.
Well, that would be really cool. Mississippi State is doing an incredible job recruiting kids from Mississippi. I know Josh Hubbard basically fell into their lap. I don't even think he would have had an offer if not for the coaching change. But now they've got him. He's just won his 5th SEC Freshman of the Week award and
If he's not the SEC Freshman of the Year, they ought to not even have the award.
Right. On Wednesday night, I'll get to see E.J. Payman again from Raymond, who recently committed in Simon State. So we've got, they're cleaning up on these kids, and I think it's going to ultimately lead to a lot of success in Starkville. It already is in Hubbard's case. And I wanted to talk about Mississippi State. I know they're up to number 16 in the RPI.
Yeah, they have moved themselves off the bubble. I think they're in. We're recording this on Tuesday morning. They play a big game tonight at 6 on TV against Kentucky.
And they're favored.
They're favored by 3.5 points. And I'm just telling you, I've been doing this for a long time in Mississippi, and you just don't see Mississippi State favored over Kentucky in basketball very often.
Yeah. So the Bulldogs are in the tournament no matter what. Let's talk about Ole Miss. They're on the bubble, but, man, just kind of hanging on by a shred, huh?
Kind of slipping down the side of that bubble right now. They got a lot of work to do, and it would really behoove them to win tomorrow night at home against Alabama. But that's hard. Yeah,
but even if they win that game, do you think that definitely cements them in, or is that
I think it gets them higher on the bubble.
Okay.
They got work to do. They got lots of work to do to get in. You look at the big picture though. The season's kind of already been a success for them when you look at what their record was last year and to even be in the hunt right now. Chris Beard's done a great first-year job, and they got work to do. They could still get there. But you give him another year to work on that roster, and I think that you're going to really have something.
Well, we got some other stuff going on I want to get to before we get out of here. I've got the baseball is looking, I think there's a lot of people pulling fire alarms in Oxford and Starkville. I would just kind of caution that it's a long season. But Ole Miss is 4-4. They got a weekend series coming up with Iowa, and then Mississippi State 4-4. Got Mount St. Mary's coming in this weekend, and then Southern Miss 6-2, and got an undefeated Indiana State team coming into the Pete this weekend. Can you kind of give us your early assessment of these teams and what you've seen so far?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's way too early to make a real, discerning statement about where we are right now.
State fans in particular, I'm talking about like ready to fire Chris Lemonis.
It's utterly ridiculous. Let's maybe after let's at least play one conference series before you're. It's a long season. He's got a lot of new players. It may well end up where they make a change, but 2 weeks into the season is not a good time to be discussing that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But I caught some of the local morning show the other day, and the host was after they beat, I guess it was Sunday, they won big. And when it was 10-2 or whatever it was, and the host was like, he really needed that. He really needed that win. And I'm just going, that's baseball. You win some and you lose some. You don't win them all. It just doesn't happen. I know you feel like you should, but it just doesn't work that way.
Both these programs should know better than anybody that you can't write off a team in February. It was April. It was late April 2 years ago when people were ready to fire Mike Bianco. Ole Miss fans, you remember this. They were really ready to fire him. And all they did was win the national championship.
Yeah. Well, getting hot at the right time helps. I will say this. February is not the right time to get hot. It's nice when it happens, but it's not necessary. It's not important.
The series I'm really looking forward to this weekend is the Southern Miss. They're 6-2. They've got a 7-0 Indiana State team that was in the tournament last year. A really good team, a really good program. They can really pitch it. You look down their scores, and there's a lot of zeros on the other side.
Well, that does not bode well for the Golden Eagles, who have not hit the ball very well to start the season. But I think is it usually the pitching ahead of the hitting this time of year?
That is the way it usually is. The pitching's ahead of the hitting, and you got to hope that's the case in Hattiesburg because they really haven't hit it. But you look back at last year when they won 48 games or whatever it was, and they weren't hitting this time last year either. They'll warm up.
Yeah, I was watching on Sunday, and I know it was like, I want to say Southern Miss had at one point the pitchers had 12 strikeouts. They had given up 3 hits, and they were like in the 7th inning. They were winning like 5-4. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where like they make it look a lot harder than it is.
They were playing a really good team. Missouri State is a long time really good. In fact, Ole Miss plays them Wednesday night this week, a midweek game that'll be a really good measuring stick for Ole Miss. Missouri State can play.
Well, I know one other thing you did this week was you went out to prep and interviewed Konnor Griffin, who, you know, I think is widely regarded. For those that don't know, he is a pitcher, middle infielder, whatever they need him to do at Jackson Prep, who is widely considered to be the best high school prospect in the country, projected to be the top high school player taken in the draft. And I was just, you know, I want to ask you your impressions of him. I mean, I've seen him live a couple of times. Obviously, he is an impressive physical specimen on top of his baseball ability. But what were your impressions of him just talking to him?
Well, first off, he's the best 17-year-old baseball player I've ever seen. I mean, there's not a weakness there. I mean, he can hit it, he can pitch it, he can field it, and brother, he can run. He has stolen. They're 10 games into the season. They're 9-1, and he has stolen 29 of 30 bases.
Well, that's just not fair.
Well, I asked the coach, well, what happened on that 30th time? And he said, well, he tried to steal home.
Yeah.
He can't outrun a fastball. You know, he's hitting 600, but what makes all those numbers so deceiving is that maybe in a whole game, if he gets up 4 or 5 times, he sees maybe 2 or 3 pitches to hit. And so he walks an awful lot because everybody pitches around him. But when he walks, that's like a triple.
Yeah, I was going to say, all the best hitters do. The difference would be being able to steal second there and get in scoring position.
And then steal third.
Yeah, and it's not like he is alone in being talented on that roster. Jackson Prep has done just pretty much an incredible job of finding talent and then cultivating it.
Well, but they had a 10th grader that just I'm out there to watch Konnor Griffin, and then I see this big, strapping kid, another one that kind of looks like Konnor Griffin as far as physique. He's a 10th grader, and I asked about him, and somebody said, well, he's the number 1 ranked 10th grader in the nation.
Yeah, and he transferred there from
West Lauderdale,
which is a Mississippi MHSAA baseball powerhouse. I mean, a great program.
Has been for 100 years. Jerry Boatner, the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame coach, who has since retired. It's one thing I said when they were telling me about it. I said, well, let me tell you, if Boatner were still at West Lauderdale, the kid would still be at West Lauderdale.
Yeah, well, there's a whole conversation that had to be had about the consolidation of all these good players in one school, but we'll have that another day. It is cool to have that much talent on one team and have them be that dominant. So really looking forward to the season.
And also, what I'd like to add about Konnor Griffin is he's just, he's like an all-American kid. Just yes, sir, no, sir. Looks you in the eyes when he shakes hands. I mean, everything you want in a...
That's probably why he's so high on all these draft boards.
Well, that's part of it, but it's an impressive thing to see.
Well, let's talk about another All-American kid from MAIS, Jackson area school. Wilson Furr made his first cut.
Congrats to Wilson. I think he was in the top 40 in the Mexico Open last week. His status on the tour, though, like this week's tournament in Florida, he's not in. He's like the second alternate. It's really hard to get any momentum going as a rookie on the tour. He's going to have to, in one of these tournaments, have a top 10 finish to where he can start.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's only one way to fix that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's hard. It's like the chicken and the egg thing. Which one comes? You need to play.
And play well.
But you need to play. You need to first have the opportunity before you can gain the experience you need on the tour. and yet you can't get into the tournaments. I'm told by our good friend Randy Watkins that Wilson is, if he doesn't get in this week, I think he's already in 3 of the next 4. So he's going to have a chance to
get a little momentum,
get some momentum going. He's another one like Konnor Griffin that you can't help but pull for him because he's such a good guy.
Yeah. Well, that's about all the time we got today, Dad. I'm going to head to the Coliseum and pull for some more good guys. I was looking at it, and the number of guys that are coaching in this thing that we've had on the show at one point or another is pretty fun. Our buddy Leonard Taylor from Clinton is back in it, and Michael Smith from Boonville, and I mean we've got a lot going on over there, and I'm really excited to see how this thing plays out. But I'll have to report to you back next week about the bouncing balls in my dreams, because that's already started, and I've gone through one day of 6. So,
well, I'm going to spend some time out there with you because, as you know, I love that tournament.
Yeah, we'll bring food and water. It would be great. But the crowds have already been good. I expect them to get better throughout the week, especially as some of these teams advance. And you got a couple of schools where there's the boys and the girls playing, where the people just come and set up camp. There's some tailgating going on in the parking lot. It's a whole thing.
I saw Winnebago's out there.
Yeah.
And something else that no matter how many times I see it, no matter how many times I go to this tournament, when those schools from the northeast corner of Mississippi,
you could write the same story every year about them. They show up.
And you look and it says the population of the town is 800, and then you look up in the stands and there's at least 1,000
right.
wearing their colors, pulling for them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Boonville was like that yesterday. The boys and the girls played, and I know there's a couple more that we've got coming up here. Ingomar, boys and girls are in there.
Yeah.
So
it's a great time to be a crook in one of those towns.
It would be a great time to be a crook in one of those towns. Well, I appreciate everybody listening in. Again, you can go to scorebooklive.com/Mississippi for all the latest and all this high school basketball action. Make sure to check in on Rick's writings over at MississippiToday.org. He's got some great stories coming at you this week about Konnor Griffin at Jackson Prep and the MAIS overall. And this is the state of that. Your story on the MAIS and the state of its basketball, especially here at the top in the metro area, was spot on, man. It's a really good product they're putting on the floor.
It really is. Let's go to the Coliseum.
All right, everybody. Have a good one out there. Stay safe.